welcome to Undisputed Live from Los Angeles. I'm Jen Hale here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys. You were featured at the NBA Awards last night talking about Magic and Bird.
You're in there.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
I kept looking for LeBron. I couldn't find him.
But LeBron
I don't know where he was. What happened?
Movie.
Yeah. Maybe he's still got a pull going. He couldn't make it over to Santa Monica, right? It's a long way from Brentwood.
We're going to talk about this a little later. You know we're getting ready for a movie shoot.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you know how movies work, right? Yeah. You just don't show up and start shooting.
This Tuesday morning.
He needs to shoot.
You know what? You need to stop.
Shoot free throws like crazy.
All right, let's go ahead and get started this morning. And let's begin with those NBA awards last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the league's most valuable player. Many expected the race to be close, but the Greek freak easily claimed the MVP title with 78 first-place votes versus 23 for James Harden. Giannis averaged close to 28 points and 12 boards this season while leading the Bucks to the best record in the NBA. Clearly, this was an emotional moment for Giannis, some very powerful stuff. Here he is moments after winning his award.
Two years ago, I had the goal in my head that I'm going to be the best player in the league. I'm going to do whatever it takes to help my team win, and I'm going to win the MVP. And every day that I step on the floor, I always think about my dad, and that motivates me and it pushes me to play hard and move forward. Even though when my body's sore, even though when I don't feel like playing, I always going to show up and I always going to do the right thing. I want to thank my amazing brothers. I love you guys, man.
What an incredible journey for this young man. Shannon, what was your reaction to last night?
It was a great moment for Giannis. Skip, I think sometimes when we see these great athletes do amazing things, we forget sometimes that they're human. And there's an emotional side, there's a human side of these great athletes to offer you a glimpse into what makes them actually tick. This moment in 2019 was very reminiscent of the moment in 2014 when Kevin Durant won. And he offered you a glimpse into the person, into the people that helped him get to that moment and helped him accomplish that great feat, because he talked about his father passing tragically 2 years ago at the age of 54 years of age in 2017. And at that moment now, Giannis must step into the role of being the head of the house. He must be the dominant male figure for his family to carry on. And he spoke about his mother, who was the hero of that family and did a great job of keeping the family together. I think for Giannis, Skip, and he offered you something, and he says, even when I didn't feel like playing, even though I was hurt, I was tired, it was that motivation of my father and me wanting to be the best and me wanting to help my team win and me wanting this trophy that kept me going. Kevin Durant alluded to something like that. Skip, is something that I can relate to, because growing up, how I grew up, knowing I didn't win the MVP, but I've always said if I got an opportunity to have a very special moment, Skip, the one person I was going to make sure to thank would be my grandmother, and she would get the bulk of the time. And so for someone that raised her 9 kids and took up my mom's 3, that was the opportunity. He gave his father, I don't know if anybody knew his name, but he gave you a face. He put a face to the name. And that's what these great athletes do when they thank people for this great moment, is that they give face to the name that we associate. Wanda Durant, for the first time, people are, okay, Wanda, yeah, we know that's his mom, but okay, wow, this is how he really feels. This is what she did for those 2 boys with no male figure in the home, and it's like with no dominant male figure around, and she did an unbelievable job. And Giannis, I read a story once, Skip, that when he got his check, he sent all his money home and then had to hitch a ride to the stadium, to the game, because that's where his mindset is. Skip, this was a great moment, but with all that being said, I still would have voted for James Harden to be the MVP. For me, Skip, and since and you go back a lot further, and I don't know if you were a voter or not, but normally the MVP goes to the best player on the team that has the best record. He doesn't necessarily mean he has to be, they're the best team, but that's normally what happens, unless they're extenuating circumstances. Now, we saw a couple of years ago, Russell Westbrook, team, I think they finished 4th or 5th in the West. he won the MVP because he had done something that hadn't been done in almost 60 years. He completed the regular season with a triple-double. Okay, that's historic. We can understand why you wouldn't give it to someone that was on a team that had a better record. I just felt what James Harden did was of that caliber, Skip. It was historic. The 28 40-point games, the 2 50-point triple-doubles, the 2 60-point games, the 9 50-point games. Skip, 36, 7. When you have that number, that amount of points, and you're still able to dole out that amount of assists, that's historic. That should be rewarded. Now, I'm not going to file a petition that says, okay, we need a recount, but I just felt that James Harden had done enough to win the MVP. But the moment in which Giannis opened his soul and allowed people to peer inside to let you know that I'm human, and the reason why I got here, how I got here, was because of circumstances that happened in my life, I thought that was a very touching moment.
Okay. I have much to add to what you just broached. I was also stunned it was such a landslide. 78 first place votes for Giannis to only 23 for James Harden. I did not see that coming. So I stepped back and tried to analyze big picture what just happened. I believe a lot of the voters saw Giannis as the new it kid. It was fresh. It was exciting. He was literally a freak because he was the Greek freak. He's got next.
Right.
James Harden, to many voters, had become same old news. And never discount how they treat the media. Giannis has become this delightful and willing interview, pregame, postgame, whenever you need him. He's fun. James, never really fun. He can be a little sour and a little dour and a little evasive and sometimes a little difficult. And he's carrying the chip on his shoulder that you guys think I always come up small in the postseason because we had seen him come up small again and again and again and again and again.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of the voters subliminally, that's just my read, my 2 cents from a distance, deep down they're thinking, gee, I know James put up stunning numbers, revolutionary numbers, especially for that position, the way he was going about it. I'm just not sure there's ever been a better solo offensive season than he just had. It's mind-blowing.
Not that we can remember. I mean, and I like Wilt's 50-25.
This is a 6'5" guy who starts on the perimeter.
Yes.
So he's shooting a step back that is unguardable.
Yes.
And now he's added a floater that's just unstoppable. And he can slither through defenders and get to the rim like nobody I think I've ever seen. And he makes free throws at almost a 90% clip. So that's hard to stop. So to me, I'm in awe, but I understand that a lot of voters who have to deal with him on a regular basis or have to live with his legacy are saying, I'm out, man. Like, I've seen enough of this. Those voters had not yet seen Giannis come up small in a playoff series. Right. And he did after the votes were in. I believe
he walked off stage after the votes were in.
Bingo. Good point. I believe if we could have had a revote last night, if everybody revoted after what we just saw, and I know that's not fair because it's supposed to be for the regular season.
Correct.
But you can't erase the post. The post is everything. It's why I always tell you, I love the NBA playoffs because they either expose or they bring out, they draw out your best or your worst.
Right.
And in this case, in both cases, both James, he disappeared once again. And Giannis just got exposed in the playoffs. And we all saw, wait a second, if you just wall off the last 3 feet to the basket, he's kind of lost. And Toronto walled him off and said, you can't come in here. And obviously number 2's up in him. And then all of a sudden you got these 3 big guys behind and you can't get to the basket. So Giannis, do you have a 10-foot jumper? Do you have an 8-foot jumper? Do you have any of Kevin Durant's weaponry from mid-range? No, you got none. You got a 3-point shot, but it's 26%. Right. So maybe one day if he becomes a 38% 3-point shooter, you're going to say, wow, he's going to be unstoppable. But I'm not sure I see that yet.
35 and he'll be.
Okay, all right, okay. But did you see it? Did you see a guy? He's long. We know he's long, freakishly long. But is he trying? I see Zion will have more immediate bulldozer impact because Zion weighs close to 300 pounds.
But Skip, you look at those shoulders. He's a lot bigger. He's a lot stronger than what he was when he initially came into the league.
Okay,
Skip, he's put
I
on
got
50
that.
pounds.
Okay, I got that, but I did not see overpowering. I saw a little, as they say, light in the back end.
Right.
I see